vegetarians in the room, and someone suggested, well, maybe it should have all been vegetarian. And I said, that would be, everybody would have just left, you know? What's the point of staying, you know?
You don't know, but you're not in trouble.
All right, I want to go ahead and start, and there's no good title for this, but maybe what I did on my summer sabbatical, or the Adventures of Father James, or something like that. I'm not going to do a play-by-play. I'm not going to do day 1, day 2, day 3, day 100, day 105, you know. You're welcome. The Cowboys are on at 5:30, so we'll be out of here by then. I actually won't keep you very long. I just want to share, I made a copy of this little, my little report. So I'm going to read the front of it, and on the back, okay, you guys, listen to me. I don't want to turn this up louder. Okay. And like I said, I made a list of the books I read that some of you will find interesting, including some non-Orthodox books that are kind of fun. Band of Brothers, some other things like that. So I was cooking, got a little heated up. So, all right. When I Heard the Learned Astronomer by Walt Whitman. When I heard the learned astronomer, when the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me. Hey, do you have this thing going on here? Okay. When the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me. When I was shown the charts. I'll start over. Let me get a second here. It's okay. Okay. It's a short poem, but I want to read it from the top. When I heard the learned astronomer, some of you know this poem. When the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them. When I, sitting, heard the astronomer, where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room, how soon, unaccountable, I became tired and sick. Till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical moist night air, and from time to time looked up in perfect silence at the stars. So I've always loved this poem because I never wanted to be a lecture room priest. I always wanted to be the one who would continue to experience the spiritual life and not just lecture about it. And that's like a little bit of a danger for the priesthood because we get busy, and so we just kind of keep running hard. And you wind up with lecture room priests instead of those that will wander off in the mystical moist night air and look up at the stars in silence and pray. So my 4-month sabbatical, which I just want to start off by saying thank you. There's a lot of new people in the room, but 2 years ago, it was a unanimous decision by the parish to let me take off for a long summer. And then it got delayed, or I delayed it because of COVID summer. When I called the Costco travel agency and said we want to go to Italy, she goes, oh yeah, you're not going to Italy. So we waited a year, and actually, even waiting another year, I said, what about Italy? She goes, oh yeah, you're not going to Italy. We probably could have, but. So my 4-month sabbatical started on Mother's Day with Emma's wedding, and 2 days later, we headed off, Samuel and I headed off to Greece. We took off on that Wednesday, and maybe I should read the stats, because you've got to hear some of the stats. It'll help with this. Sabbatical stats: air miles, 38,866. Canceled flights, 0. Lost luggage, 0. That's because I always carry on, but anyway. Rental cars, only 4, 1 in England, which I'll talk about, in Utah, Pennsylvania, Hawaii. Nights in monasteries, 18. Monasteries visited, 10. Most expensive COVID test. Anybody want to just shout out a guess? $250. $250. Did I already tell you? Okay. Sam and I paid $250 each, which means you would have had more barbecue, but $500 in Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport because we didn't need a COVID test to leave America, we did not need a COVID test to go to Greece. And Germany said we did not need a COVID test to fly and be in their airport. But Lufthansa said you got to have a COVID test to be in the airport in Germany. I'm like, Germany doesn't think so. But anyway, so we did that for $250. Okay, cheapest COVID test. Free, yeah. That COVID test was done at the visa office for Mount Athos. Even though Greece didn't require a COVID test, Mount Athos did. But I'll tell you that they had there probably were 40 or 50 or more, maybe 100 men getting these COVID tests. 40 of them were ready in 30 seconds. They were all negative, so I'm not sure how serious it was, but they did them. So I already told you, I got only speeding tickets, 1. Relics, 5. The relics of St. John Chrysostom, St. Basil the Great, St. Silouan, a martyr from Aiud prison in Romania, and a martyr of St. Theodosius Monastery. I'll have a reliquary. They're super expensive, so I'm trying to find a wooden one or a silver plated one, because they can be thousands of dollars. And I will get that for the parish. We'll have that for the parish and bring it out. Rock climbing trip to Colorado, 1. Books read by Elder Simeon Craigiopoulos, 5. Books by St. Porphyrius, 4. Total books, 24. I only read 18 of the 24, so I didn't read every one of them because some of them are long. And I'll hand that out. And I have the gift for each family is one of Elder Simeon Craigiopoulos' books. It's titled something you'll recognize, May It Be Blessed. So I stole, you're saying that, it's very sweet. I stole that sermon from that book. All right, so here it is. I wanted to take Sam to Greece. I'd taken John. I took the entire family on a vacation and tons of travel with Korea Karen, lots of time in solitude, and the overall theme was experiencing the spiritual life, right? Not being a lecture room priest, experiencing the spiritual life with my family and alone. In the stillness of mountains and monasteries, and then I have to add, I said already, beaches, because we wound up going to some beaches. And all of our trips are always basically a hiking trip, just so you know, so we always hike. The main purpose of my sabbatical was to deepen stillness and prayer in my life, and to do that I had to wander off. I needed to get serious about following Jesus' constant example of heading into the mountains to pray. I knew being away from you would be very difficult. It was a little bit of a surprise how difficult it was. I really appreciate, all of you did a very good job letting me wander off. Only a couple. Father! The rest of you were like, yeah, fine. Father Basil's more than thank you, Father Basil, very much. More than yes. Woo! So it just worked out beautifully for Father Basil. He loved it. He kept thanking me. We kept thanking each other. I'm like, thank you. He's like, thank you. No, thank you. No, Father, thank you. But one thing that was actually really difficult, besides just being out of touch, was personally I got out of a regular liturgical rhythm that happens when you're part of a parish. When you're in the monastery, the rhythm's very easy, right? I mean, it's day in the morning and an evening, and they tell you, and it's very easy. But in between things, it was hard. I had to search for places to go, and that's why I'm telling you, I visited lots of places, and we have something very good here. I was thankful I got to be at the birth, or at least right after the birth, of Ian and Gabby and David and Sinead's babies. I was in town for them both, so I went to the hospital, snuck in, snuck out.
It was your birthday, right?
What'd you say?
It was your birthday, right?
Yeah. So thank you for letting me go. Special thank you to Father Basil, Deacon Chris, and the parish council, who were just wonderful. I knew my time away would provide an opportunity to grow as a parish without me, and to grow with Father Basil, and get to know him better. It's really great. I really needed this sabbatical. I think I needed it more than I realized. It took a long time to unplug, but it was really time. So in the beginning, I wondered if it was working. I'll just pretend to talk. In the beginning, I was like, I hope it's working, which I probably should have just relaxed. I think I'm able to say, getting home, that it did work. And I believe the sabbatical created a place for space for the Lord to act in my life and the life of the parish. And it was great. So only God could really reveal it. Both my internal clutter and everything else. It was really good to be away and not be shoving stuff into the calendar. Anyway, I love you. I'm so glad to be home, you know. All right. I read you the sabbatical stats, so let me show you. When I'm done, don't leave. I'll give you a copy of the little thing I've just read that has the stats and the books and all that, and then also the gift. And it's one per family, and forgive me, new people that are here. I'll give it to everyone who's here, you know, first, and then visitors, if there's leftovers, you can have them. So I hope that there's plenty, we'll see. There probably is. I had them shipped from Greece in a huge box, and it's like so super cheap. It's really great. All right. Let's see. I'm sorry that this this projector is not. Oh, I gotta plug it in. Ready? There it is.
Turn the lights off.
That light back there in the corner. Push that lower button. Yeah. Okay. No signal. All right, we'll try to fix it. Face ID.
You want the other lights on, Father?
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. Yeah, the wedding, yes. The clarity is not perfect, and I'm sorry. And you guys can like come closer if you want to see some of this. And this won't last long. I only have like 600 or 700 photos, so you'll enjoy this. So it started with Emma's wedding. You can see Father John. There we go. There's our family. Emma and her new husband, Christian. Bowser. She's a Bowser now. What happened? That's never happened before. I test drove this already. All right, hold on. I think we're good. We're getting close. It's gonna happen. Mirror? Oh, come on. All right, wedding. Okay, wedding. That's John on the left, and you can see Sam's fist is right here. That's Sam's fist. Okay. Just if you wondered. Okay. And that's how pretty the courtyard looks. I'm sorry, it's not brighter, but there's Sam and I smiling even after spending $500 on COVID tests as we take off. And there is the list of men who are getting. Can we kill that? Lights? Kill the lights if we could. It's okay. There we go. That's better. That's the visa office for Mount Athos, and it's in Oronopoli, a little like beach town that you go to Thessaloniki or Athens, and you get to Thessaloniki, and then you get to Oronopoli, the little beach town. And so this is like 6 a.m. in the morning, 5:50 a.m. And Sam and I were number 2 and number 3 in the chair with the COVID tests. And it was actually kind of funny being in Greece, even as a priest. The man that showed us around was a resident. Sam was a youth. So I'm the one that had to pay to go into museums and stuff. I'm like, I'm the priest. But I thought Greece would like care, but they don't care. That's me wearing the Kalimafka. I don't wear it around much. That is a insider trading knowledge thing. Only priests wear that hat. So if you ever see, there's never a deacon wearing that hat or a monk wearing that hat unless the monk is a priest. So in Mount Athos, that's what you wear. And there's our boat, Agia Anna, Saint Anna. That's the, the shuttle for Mount Athos. So we were on Mount Athos. Now that monastery should look really far away for you because that's Simonis Petrus. We, for whatever reason, instead of going to Gregoriou, where we spent the night, we got off, which is the next monastery over, we got off at this port and carried our bags all the way up to the top of that, and it was hot and muggy. And then we hiked them all the way down. I'm like, why didn't we just leave them at that monastery? But live and learn. It's a really beautiful monastery. It was the one that was featured in the 60 Minutes special about Mount Athos. And one of the monks who was kind of featured in that 60 Minutes thing is Father Iacovos, and we spent a lot of time with him. There are 3 Father Iacovoses on this trip. Me, because in Greece, I'm Father Iacovos. The Father Iacovos from 60 Minutes, I didn't take his picture. And then the monk we went to visit, which I'll show you. So that's that monastery up closer, really beautiful. These are all like 1,000 years old, and some of these are very wealthy monasteries. You know, they're full of retired, successful men, and and young kind of peasant monks and all kinds of people. And they've been around such a long time. That's the view. I think that's why men go to Mount Athos to be monks. And it's also very holy and awesome. So this is us. This is what it looked like hiking. I wish you could hear the sounds, but you can't. Just imagine you hear feet walking on dirt. I just want you to see, this lasts for about 35 more seconds. But I just want you to see like what it is like and how like the monastery will come into view here in a second. This is the holy pile of firewood of St. Gregoriou and the holy sticks of Gregoriou. You can start to see the monastery over the sticks here in a sec. It's very beautiful. And there's Gregoriou down there. Like I said, we should have left our bags down there and we left up without them. These monasteries, Gregoriou is this really warm brotherhood. You showed up and they were just like your best friends. Can you hear that? Can you hear it?
Yeah.
That's the wake-up call for church. There's a monk walking around waking us up, like telling us it's time. But look at the view over the monastery. It's incredible. Oh, did I send that out? Yeah. Oh, okay, you saw it. Okay. That's the view from Gregoriou. Early. Church is early. It's in the dark. So this is like after. There's the boat. It's very beautiful in Greece. Everything is pretty. So we got on the boat at Gregoriou, and we transferred to St. Anne's Skeet. That's St. Anne's. So you know St. Anne's because St. Anne's the mother of God and works miracles for those who have trouble getting pregnant, and they have her relics there. That's one thing I want to tell you. At Simonis Petrus, when you go to monasteries, if you're there for Vespers, they bring out the relics. And so at Simonis Petrus, they had like the head of Saint Fotini, the woman at the well. It goes on and on and on. Like St. John Chrysostom's head and the foot of St. Anne. And like, I know that may sound weird to visitors. Forgive me, visitors. There's some of you today going, what? Please just give us a chance to explain. It's really powerful. So, and there's that wooden taliton, whatever it's called, to call to prayer. And that's the view from St. Anne's. And this would be called Turkish Delight, but in Greece, nothing is called Turkish anything. Because the Turks went in and killed them all. So there's no Turkish coffee in Greece. You know what they call it? Greek coffee, yes. This is lukumi, which is in some countries called Turkish Delight. And that's Sipero. It's a like alcohol beverage. Don't kick it, sweetie. I will let you know that John helped himself to the extras and Sam wasn't that interested. But anyway, that's another story. It was a great trip. And they give you that actually, that you quit sweating when you have a swig of this stuff. And that's what they say. I mean, you know, maybe it's sweaty up there. And this is why Father had trouble figuring out where to go all the time. I actually knew where I was going, but it was hard. And so you see these signs, especially that red sign, you see these all over Mount Athos, because now there are some roads, but there didn't used to be. And this is the highest habitable cell on Mount Athos, St. Panteleimonos. That is the monk from Tennessee, Father Yakovos. You're going to see a better picture of him. And you have to hike up to get to him. There's no running water, and there's no bathroom. So we haul water up from a spring, and there is an outhouse. I mean, I guess there's a bathroom, but it doesn't feel like comfortable. No indoor kitchen. So Sam and Father Yakovos, the American from Tennessee, he's got his PhD from Thessaloniki and played college football and wrestling, really, and translates Greek to English for a living, because he needs to have enough money to buy food for a year, or that kind of thing. So they're baking bread. That's what they looked like when they were done. It was really good. All the food's good because I think you're kind of hungry all the time. So, that's a kind of iconic Athos picture because there's crosses everywhere. And so, after being with Father Yakovos for a few days, I did liturgy in that 650-year-old cell, and we had this, I told you, Romanian hermit, and some pilgrims come. It was really it was really incredible. I'm so at home here, and there I'm like, where's the stuff? I have to figure it all out. And then also that it's being chanted in all kinds of different languages. I'm saying my part's in English, and they're answering in Romanian. I'm like, I don't know what's next. It's very sweet, and there's no one's in a hurry. There's nothing else to get to. They don't have to run to the next thing. This is the thing. And that's one thing I wish I could really do better, is this is all I need to do right now. Not worry about what's next, So we're there for a few days. We kind of work. We clean up for him and do some little construction stuff and bake bread. And then after a couple of days, we hiked back down to Little St. Anne's. You'll sometimes hear about Little St. Anne's. So there's St. Anne's Skeet, and then there's Little St. Anne's. Little St. Anne's is over the hill from St. Anne's Skeet, and it's basically a monastic neighborhood. So all the Athos is kind of run or owned by 20 monasteries that have lots and lots and lots of little monasteries everywhere. But the 20 are in charge of all the land and all the buildings and whatever. So you're everybody answers to one of the 20. I have to feel them standing up. So Father Yakovos says, well, let's hike down and to get on the boat the next morning. Okay, hold on. I've got a heckler. So we hike down, and when we get there, Father Yakovos says, maybe Father James, instead of Vespers, why don't we just watch the sunset and pray the Jesus prayer? I'm like, we can do that? Because I'm the priest, I would be doing the Vespers. So he's kind of saying it and asking, can we kind of not do Vespers and just watch the sunset and pray the Jesus prayer together? I'm like, yes. We might do that here some Saturday night, in the sun setting, let's just go out and pray together outside, we probably will do Vespers also, but anyway. But maybe not. It was really so sweet. I felt like I was skipping school, it was awesome. So then I took these pictures. This is instead of doing Vespers pictures. There's Sam and I. And there's Sam posing. And okay, so the next morning, this is my last morning, our last morning on Mount Athos, and this is the chapel of St. Joseph the Hesychast. So he and his brotherhood lived in New Skeet, which is on the other side of St. Anne's Skeet from Little St. Anne's. New Skeet, St. Anne's, Little St. Anne's. This is kind of in between the two, but this is in St. Anne's or Little St. Anne's, and this is where they lived for a while. His cell is no longer there. It was just a shack anyway. Not even a shack, a closet. But this is his chapel. You won't be able to hear the video I took. It's the next little thing. But I went in and we were in there prayed together for a moment, this is Father Yakovos, by the way, the monk we went to see, really great guy. And so I went in, and you won't hear me say, but I'm like, we could do this to the planetarium on our property. So they have this it's like folk art. And instead of a big icon, it's a painting of the Holy Spirit as a dove. And it's tiny. That's it. Yeah, room for 5 or 8 or something. So right now it's full of pews, our planetarium, but maybe we'll do this sometime. I can't stop the video. Is the way it's running? Maybe I can see. Yeah, hold on. Did it already show you? Oh, you can't see it. It's dark in there. There's a bone in there. I don't know what that's about. Like a human leg bone. Some saint or something. Here's the altar. It's just very sweet. I don't know if this is interesting to you, but that's the altar. So not a table, like a little like alcove. And the on Mount Athos, they don't have table. The big monasteries have like we have, but these little tiny skeets, they have like this. That's like a proscomedia table. It's this little like cavey thing, you know, because there's just no room. So you don't sense around the table because you can't get around. Yeah. All right. And that's our boat. We're heading off. This is Thessaloniki. That's Hagia Sophia. There's more than one Hagia Sophia. And very beautiful. I brought back, and then Stefan and Leah did too, brought back myrrh from St. Demetrius of Thessaloniki. On those at Vespers, we had a big turnout at Vespers last night. That's what I anointed you with, was the oil, the myrrh from him. This is your priest taking a selfie in front of a no selfie sign. Look at the Greek word for selfies. Selfies. Yes. Selfie is an American thing, I guess. So, okay. Oh, we went to England. Oh, can you hear it? Can you hear that? No, it's Long Live the King. So we were there for her Jubilee. We didn't know it. So I got back from Greece and 2 days later went to England. And there's one guy that messes up. We're going to wait for him and then So this is the changing of the guard. Some of you have probably seen this. Pretty fun. They're headed to the barracks from Buckingham Palace over the right. We won't do a whole lot of these, but this is kind of fun. All right. That guy, the big guy in the middle, he's going the wrong way. Look at him. Look at his arm. See him back there? What is wrong? Okay. That's London waiting for the Queen's 75th Jubilee. Isn't that sweet? Yeah. So my sister Jennifer, right next to me, and her 3 daughters joined us. Yes, that's Lamb and Flag. We went there twice in 4 days. It's the best pub in town. Had the best food ever. I'm ready to go back to Lamb and Flag. My wife in front of Mary Poppins. So now you know the secret. She is a Mary Poppins fan. This is what it looks like when we go to museums. She reads, I goof off. Oh, Chichesters. Did you see? Did I send that to you? Oh, look, Chichester. I looked for all of your last names, but I only found theirs. Okay, we were gonna go to Essex for the weekend, and I couldn't get a hold of them. They don't have email. You write a letter and wait. That is where Saint Sophrony is from in England. He was on Mount Athos with Saint Silouan, and then went to England and started this monastery, and we really wanted to go there. They put out great books and we wanted to go. They were still under lockdown for COVID. He said, you can come, but you have to quarantine for 2 days. We were only gonna be there for 3. So I'm like, it's a long way to go to like sit in a room, so wish we'd have known beforehand. But so what we did was we went to Windsor Castle, and the Queen was actually there. I told them that if she needed us, we were available to help her. They got a big laugh out of it, the old ladies that worked there, but I said, have you ever met her? And they're like, no. So what we went to the Cotswolds for the weekend. Cotswolds are a place of outstanding beauty. If you look it up on the map, it says area of outstanding beauty. So we just went there, and like I said, all our trips were hiking trips, and so you walk to lunch, and that says Public Bridal Way, and Holne St. Albans. It's a 2-mile walk to the next town, and that's what we were doing for lunch and dinner, walking to towns. And in England, unlike America, there's private property, but you have access. You can cross everybody's fences because you walk right through. So they have gates, and you open the gates and go through and lock the gates. And it's just different laws. I think Scotland's that way too. It's a walking place. You walk wherever you want. So that's what my wife looks like walking. And I don't want to scandalize anybody, but this is what I look like walking. That's it. Matthew Cook, that's for you. Anyway, there's my dear wife. She's in Mexico, coming home today, by the way. She's been on a trip with her sister and her dad and John, a work trip for the towel shop. He turned 88 on Wednesday, and I said if he turns 89 next year, I'm going to Mexico. So, oh, traffic jam. This is a legitimate traffic jam. Can you see? This is an actual like highway in the Cotswolds. We got stuck behind sheep. And great dogs. Look, and then the shepherd got out to make it go quicker. You see that? Those dogs are working. So he's just getting us to the next thing where we can get off this road and get on another road. Yeah, it was really sweet. Look at all those dogs working. So I'll tell you about getting the car. Anybody's driven in England. So I get in the car, I'm like, this is no problem. I can do this. You know, you sit on the other side of the car, you drive on the other side of the road. I get out, and the very first thing I do is I turn the wrong way in the Avis Rent-A-Car parking lot. And the car's coming at me, I'm like, God, this is gonna be harder than I thought. So it took two of us to do all of this. I made fun of my wife, as you can imagine. Every time we went up to the car, I just slowed down so she would go up to the driver's side and get in. It's like, I'm gonna drive, go around to the other side. So the last day, we go to Oxford, and I'll show you a picture of Oxford, and then we're almost done. I got like 5 more of these, maybe 10 more of these slides. So she's gonna stay at the hotel. I'm gonna run and get gas in the car. So I run down, it's like a little Volkswagen, you know, a little 2-door, 3-door, like hatchbacky thing. And I jump in the wrong side of the car. And I'm like, oh, if Karen was here, you know. This was after days of driving, lots of days of driving, but it's just hard to get used to. All right, let's see what's left. That's for Austin Fowler. Austin, you still here somewhere? Okay. Austin and I are in a constant, continuous serial chess game, including this morning. He made another move, so I have to make a move wherever he is. If I make a mistake, he wins, so I try not to make any mistakes. The Eagle and Child, some of you know this very famous pub in Oxford. It's what C.S. Lewis called the bird and baby, the Eagle and Child, because that's where the Inklings met. It closed during COVID, but that little sign right there says it's been bought by someone else and they're gonna reopen. So, lots of beach trips. This was July in California. Sam and his pink-haired girlfriend, and my wife and her twin, and us, John and his girlfriend Cameron, you guys know. This is at the consecration in Payson, Utah in July. Really beautiful. The Finlaysons, Ty and Michaela, all made it. There's my wife reading to 5 of their 10 children. And that little girl with the curly hair is our goddaughter. That's her, one of our daughters, Paraskevy. You can see Father John Bethencourt in the back of his head. He wouldn't like that. There's the Finlaysons and us, and there's Father David Hovick. He was there. He's the spiritual advisor for the Antiochian women on the West Coast.
Were Jim and Martha there too?
No. And then this is at the clergy symposium that I ran in July with, just so if you wondered if I'm the only one losing his hair and growing a big beard. Colorado, you can see my wife ready. This is my wife rock climbing. See how fast she is? You want to see it again? Awesome. But that's what she looks like. Well, it's not a great picture, but there she is. I mean, just as far as the quality. So that's John DeYoung next to Karen. That's Alan Finlayson's friend from high school, and Alan's godfather. And he visits here. He'll be here for the retreat in November, he thinks. He visits here because of his parents in Sun City or something, other side of town. So, and then Hawaii, I won't make you envious. Well, just a little bit, probably.
Can't hear it.
Yeah, I know, Hawaii. Look, they're everywhere. They're like vermin. So amazing. We were on Maui this time, yeah. That's what we looked like on the last night. That's what we looked like. Sorry, don't be scandalized. Okay, then the last little thing to show you. This is the monastery in New Mexico. We went there. I went there the first thing after the Greece and England trip, and then the last thing. And some of you have been there, and it's not just only men are there, but it's not just only men visit. It's a really beautiful. It's near Abiquiu, where George O'Keeffe. Thank you. George O'Keeffe was. So it's really beautiful country. Here's the monastery. And this sign I want to get redone for our courtyard. Cell phones past this point are subject to smashing. Can we get that? Clay, can we get one of those? And there's a little bridge. Okay. Father John, so it kind of started with Father John. I named with Father John. I went to confession during the sabbatical a couple times or whatever more. And the monks there are really warm. I just want to tell you, like, I know we have in our head different things about monasteries, but when there's a feast day, they do the services and they can be long, it's true, but then they go on a picnic together. It's really quite something. Like, they make food and we go out into the canyon and they make their own brandy and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's just, it feels like a Lord of the Rings Hobbit thing. You know, just like lots of time and being together, and this is a hike we're doing. Father John, you can't see it, but he's got a hiking stick in that hand. It's like, just not showing up. It looks like he's walking right. Monastery dogs. And this last slide, this was from the beginning of the summer, Father John and I here. So, let me just turn this off here. If you guys want to flip those lights back on. All right. Well, thanks for putting up with some of those slides. I just want to say thanks again for letting me go. It's really hard to figure out even how to pull it off. We had other plans. So we weren't planning to go to Hawaii with the family. We were planning to go to Italy because my father's 100% Italian and I've never been. But I think it worked. Just to have time to, unplug. And like I said, I've always been happy here. It's not like I wanted to go away and find my happiness or something like that. I was kind of desperate to get back. And there were a couple of Sundays when I was in town going, shouldn't I just sneak in the back door, sit in the altar, not say anything, have communion, but I visited some of our sister parishes in town. So, okay. Any questions before I don't leave because I have a little gift? Any questions about it or comments or anything? It's okay if there isn't. Kept you here long.
Welcome back.
Thanks. It's great to be back. Yeah, thanks. Love you guys. All right. So the way to do this maybe is I'll set...
There's food to go home with you.
Food to go home. Take it. We're not going to leave it here, so take some home. Why don't I instead of trying to come around and give each family one copy of this book and give you one copy of my little report, why don't I set them outside on the table where you get coffee? And if you'll just take one book per family, and then everybody can have one of the report things. If there's leftover books, so new people that are here today visiting, I'd like you to take one if there's an extra. And I know we have people missing, so maybe I should wait. Okay. If you're new, you haven't been pledging, you're not a member of the parish, don't take one today. I'll hopefully have one available, and I'll make sure everybody that's not here gets one today, and then whatever's left over, I'll bring it next week or whatever. Okay? Guys, thank you. God bless you all.